guys, how are we all doing? Welcome back to another video. Now today we are doing something a little bit different. We're going to be going through each championship club and talking about what I think their best victory has been of the season so far. So let's get into this. Now if we go in alphabetical order, we'll start with AFC Bournemouth. Now they currently sit 6th. They're having a decent season, but I'd say it started better than it's going now. They've fizzled out a little bit, but that win at the weekend against Watford just gone has pushed them back into 6th after that defeat against Cardiff. So it's going to be a close one. I've said that before with Bournemouth. But for their best victory so far this season, I've gone for their win over Reading in November. They won that game 4-2. Now this game was absolutely mental. They were 2-0 down, and I remember Reading obviously flying at the time, but they came back to beat them 4-2 on their own turf, and I thought that was just a fantastic win. There's been loads of great wins for Bournemouth this season, but Bournemouth fans, let me know what you think. I think that victory was absolutely amazing, so I'm going for the 4-2 win against Reading. Now next up we have Barnsley, who are just one place below them. They are 7th in the table, and I tell you what, their season's really picking up momentum. After a mid-table first half of the season, in fact they were probably bottom half, things have really turned around since they brought in the new manager, and they're really flying towards them playoffs. They currently sit 7th, one place outside the top 6, but they are very, very close to breaking in there, and if they keep up their form, they'll definitely get in there. For me, their best victory has got to be the 2-0 win away at Brentford. Now that was in the February, which was just win after win after win. And Barnsley fans, I was so surprised by that. I didn't think you'd go to Brentford and beat them 2-0, because Brentford up until then had been really solid. So my best victory for you guys was that 2-0 win away at Brentford. Now next up we have Birmingham City, who they're not having a great season, but their last couple wins have pushed them above the bottom 3. And I'm actually going for their last victory at the weekend against QPR as their best victory. Now they've picked up a few decent results over the season. They've won a few away games that have actually been quite impressive. But I think that win at the weekend against QPR, they were trailing 1-0 and scored 2 in the last 8 or so minutes. I think that was not just a great win, but a crucial win, because it's pushed them further of the bottom 3. And that win for me, it's slightly changed how I feel about Birmingham. I feel like they might stay up now. Before that game I was convinced that they were probably going to go down, but that 2-1 victory at the weekend against QPR, I think it's changed everything. So Birmingham fans, I'm going for that one. What's yours? Now next up we've got Blackburn Rovers, who had a great start to the season. They were the top scorers. I don't think they are anymore, and their season has really fizzled out. Their last result was a 1-1 draw against my team Coventry, but before that they lost about 5 or 6 games, which was really bad. Now at the start of the season they were panning teams left, right and centre. They won 4-0 away at Derby, 4-0 away at Coventry, but for me I've just gone for their biggest win, which is a 5-0 win against Wycombe. Okay, you could say it was probably against an easier opponent, but I think to win any game 5-0 in the Championship is pretty special, and this was at a time when Blackburn were panning teams left, right and centre, but it looks as if Blackburn's season's fizzled out and they might have to settle for mid-table. But Blackburn fans, what do you think? Now next up we have Brentford Football Club, and their season's been a bit of a strange one, hasn't it? They had a really, really solid start, and they've kind of fizzled off a little bit in February, but then they've found their feet again. They're winning games, and it's going to be really tight to see if they can squeeze into the top 2 this season. I think it'll be very, very close, and it might be agonisingly missing out again. Who knows? It'll be a close one, but for them I've just gone for their heaviest win, a 7-2 demolition against Wycombe. And what was surprising about this game was it was 2-2 at one point, and I remember thinking, wow, Wycombe are giving it a really good go, and then Brentford just went from 1st gear to 5th gear and absolutely wiped the floor with them to score 7 goals. I was absolutely bamboozled. I know Brentford are a great team, Wycombe not a great team in this division, but Brentford to win 7-2, wow, that was a great win. Now next up we have Bristol City, who've been on a bit of a funny run recently. They really dipped away, and they'd lost quite a few games. I think they lost 6 on the bounce. They fell away from the playoffs, but their last 2 games have been 3-1 wins away at Middlesbrough and now away at Swansea. And I've gone for that win against Swansea. I did not see that coming, and I could have gone for the win against Middlesbrough, because that was a bit of a strange one as well. But to win away at Swansea like they did, 3-1, I think it's absolutely fantastic. You know, my team Coventry has been to Swansea. We couldn't break them down. Swansea have got the best defence in the league. So to go there and score 3 goals, Bristol, what a win that was. I'm going for your 3-1 win away at Swansea. Now next up we have Cardiff City, and they're a bit like Barnsley, I think. They're flying towards the playoffs after a bit of a mid-table start. And I've gone for their 2-1 win away at Bournemouth just a week ago. What a win that was. Since then they have slipped back outside of the top 6, but that was the win which saw them overtake Bournemouth. And I thought that game was a massive 6-pointer, and for them to win that, I don't know, I got this sneaky feeling about Cardiff and Barnsley. They could both make the playoffs, but wow, Cardiff fans, I've gone for your 2-1 win away at Bournemouth. What do you think's been your best victory? It's a hard one to choose. Now next up, my team Coventry. It's quite an easy one as far as I'm concerned. We've picked up 1 or 2 decent wins. I think the 3-2 win against Reading was quite special, but the 2-0 win against Brentford just a couple of weeks ago was absolutely fantastic, and it came at such an important time. Coventry hadn't won in about 5 games, and we needed that because we were sliding closer to the bottom 3, and we just keep getting these wins and draws every now and then just to keep a bit of a distance above the bottom 3. And that win against Brentford, although it was amazing, it was just so unexpected as well. I just couldn't see us beating Brentford, and to win it in the way we did, Tyler Walker getting a brace, and the defence looked quite comfortable. It's got to be that one, Coventry fans, hasn't it? Now next up we've got Derby County, and another strange season, a bit of a slow start for Derby. They were looking likely like they might get relegated halfway through the season, but they've really turned things around, and they're a club that know what to do in the Championship. You know, even when they were bottom at one point, I didn't think Derby would go down just because of the experience they've got in this division. And I'm going for their 4-0 win away at Birmingham. And Derby fans, I know you've had lots of great wins, but this one was fantastic. To win away at Birmingham and score 4 goals. There's been plenty of great away wins. I know you won 1-0 at Norwich at the start of the season, but I think this 4-0 win away at Birmingham, it was the one where I just thought, no way are they going down. And Derby, since then, they've just flown away from the bottom 3, and I think they're staying up. So I've gone for that one, Derby fans. Now next up, Huddersfield Town, who've had a bit of an up and down season, but I've gone for their most recent victory, a 4-1 win against Swansea. And it was a bit of a bolt from the blue. I think their form going into it was really bad, and their form coming out of it has actually been really bad. So it was one of them freak results, I suppose, but it was a game where they all turned up, some great goals. They absolutely took it to Swansea, didn't they? And like I've said before, Swansea with the best defence in the league. Huddersfield putting 4 goals past them. It was absolutely amazing. There's been a few decent victories for Huddersfield. I think they've picked up a few decent results on the road, but this 4-1 against Swansea, you've got to pick that one. Next up we have Luton Town, who've had a decent season, unexpected season as far as I'm concerned. I did tip them to get relegated, but fair play to them. They've been mid-table for most of the season. They've petered off a little bit, but they're still well clear of the drop, and their most recent result is the one I'm going for. 2-0 down at home to Sheffield Wednesday, and they came back to win 3-2. What a win that was. Honestly, I think Luton was slipping a little bit, and everyone had their eye on them. Are they coming into the relegation battle? But that win has really put some breathing space between them and the clubs like Sheffield Wednesday and Rotherham. What a win that was. The circumstances to come from 2-0 down when Sheffield Wednesday are battling for their lives. What a win that one was, Luton fans. Now next up we've got Middlesbrough, a team that... It's been a shame really. At the start of the season I thought they looked like they might make the top 6, but it's petered out a little bit. They might still do it. They're just on the cusp, aren't they? They have to get a good run going soon if they want to finish in that top 6, because there's teams like Barnsley and Cardiff who just look a little bit more hungry at the moment. But Middlesbrough have pulled out a few decent results this season. The one I've gone for is their 4-1 win away at Birmingham. Now, this was their best performance on the road by a mile. They went to St Andrews and absolutely took the game to them. And Middlesbrough's Coventry's next game, so I'm hoping they're not coming to St Andrews and doing that again. But wow, what a win that one was. They really took the game to Birmingham, and if they could show signs like they did in that game throughout the rest of the season, they might still make the top 6. But I've gone for that one, Middlesbrough fans. Next up we have Millwall, a team who are languishing in mid-table. Millwall have been a funny team to keep your eye on, haven't they? They just haven't really done anything that makes you get too excited. They're not going down, but I don't think they'll go up. What do you reckon, Millwall fans? I've gone for your 2-1 win away at Reading, because this one really was a fantastic result. They scored 2 late-ish goals to win away at the Medeski. Reading obviously having a great season, so for Millwall to go there and do what they did to take all 3 points, I think this was a great result on the road. I've gone for that one, Millwall fans. Now next up we have the league leaders, Norwich City, and wow, there's plenty of games to choose from basically. They've won the most games in the division, they're top of the league for a reason. There's no way they're not going back to the Premier League. I just think Norwich are flying so well, and it was a really hard one to pick. They've actually won a lot of games by 1 or 2 goals, but I've gone for a game where they won by 3. A 4-1 win at home to Stoke. What a result this one was. And it was just after Norwich had a little bit of a wobble where they'd drawn a couple of games, lost a couple of games, and they really bounced back with this one. And since this, I don't think they've lost again. They've really picked up the form. They've won away at Birmingham and Coventry since, but this one against Stoke, who are no mugs, to win 4-1, I thought that was a great result. Now next up, Nottingham Forest, a team that have really turned their season around. I thought they were going to be one of the teams that we were trying to suck into the relegation battle, but both Forest and Derby have shown a bit of championship experience and a bit of know-how to climb away from the bottom 3, and I have no doubt that Forest will stay up and be in the championship next season. Who knows, their form's looking good, who knows where they'll finish, but I've gone for their heaviest win of the season, a 3-0 win away at Wycombe. This one was a really good victory. Once again, I feel like if you beat Wycombe, you shouldn't think it was a guaranteed win. Wycombe have picked up a few decent results this season, so for Forest to go there and win by 3 goals, really convincing scoreline, and I'm convinced they'll stay up. Now next up, Preston North End, a team languishing in mid-table again, but this one was actually quite tricky. I looked at their results and they've picked up loads of decent results, especially on the road. They've won away at Reading and Bournemouth, but this one had to be their 4-2 away win at Brentford. Now the circumstances for this game were absolutely crazy. This was near the start of the season and they were 2-0 down, and they came back at Brentford and scored 4 goals to win 4-2. Preston fans, I was absolutely mesmerised that you did that. What a win. But as a whole, your season's been mid-table, but some decent victories in there, Preston fans. Now next up we have Reading, a team who are sat 5th in the table. They've had a decent season, to be fair, a really electric start where they were top after, I think they won their first 6 or 7 games, it might have been 8 or something. They were absolutely flying, but I've gone for their 4-2 win away at Blackburn. Now Blackburn, they've been a funny team, but at the start of the season they were really, really solid, so I thought Reading to go there and win 4-2, score 4 goals at Ewood Park. I thought it was a fantastic win. Reading have had great wins this season. Honestly, Reading fans, let me know what yours is, but I think that 4-2 at Blackburn, fantastic. Now next up we have Rotherham United, a team sat in the bottom 3 and a really funny team to watch this season. Honestly, they seem to go on really good runs and then really bad runs. At the moment they're on a bad run, they've lost quite a few games. Their next game, Sheffield Wednesday, wow, that is massive. But I've gone for one of their wins, obviously. They won 3-0 at Middlesbrough. What on earth happened here? I remember seeing the score come in and I thought, what is going on? Rotherham to win 3-0 at a team like Middlesbrough with Neil Warnock. You would not see that coming. And it was at a time where Rotherham were hitting some decent form. They need to hit that kind of levels again if they want to stay up. But to win 3-0 at Middlesbrough, Rotherham fans, how did you do it? Then next up we have another team in the bottom 3, Sheffield Wednesday, another team who've had a funny season. Their form at the moment's not great, but that game against Rotherham coming up, that is absolutely huge. Now I think their best win for me has got to be the away win at Bournemouth. They've had a few decent wins, but that 2-1 win away at Bournemouth and they scored a very late goal. Wow, I did not see this one coming. Now Bournemouth, obviously, they've petered off a little bit, but to still go there and win 2-1 in the way that they did, I think Sheffield Wednesday, if they hit these levels again, they'll definitely stay up because they've shown a lot of class this season. And, you know, like I say, there's been plenty of great wins to choose from, but I just think this one was pretty special. Now next up we have Stoke City, and I've gone for a win back in October when they beat Brentford 3-2. Now, they've had a few decent results this season, Stoke. They've been a funny team, just on the cusp of the playoffs again. Can they break in there? They need to hit some good levels to do that. But this win against Brentford, you know, like I say, to beat Brentford in any circumstances, home or away, I think any team should be proud of themselves. So to win 3-2 against Brentford, what a win this one was for Stoke. But like I said, they've had great wins this season, and if they can hit these levels on a consistent basis, Stoke could be a team to break into the top 6. Next up, Swansea City, a team who's dipped a little bit lately. It's hard to see where Swansea are going to finish, actually. They've picked up a few wins here, but a few defeats there. Their most recent being a 3-1 loss at home to Bristol City. That one really, I just didn't see that coming. Their best win for me was in February though. It was a 2-0 win against Norwich. Anyone who's beaten Norwich this season, give yourself a pat on the back. This one as well, it was so comfortable. Swansea won 2-0 and this was a win that really set the pace for the top 2, wasn't it? You know, I think since then Norwich have really found their feet again and flown away, but I think Swansea could be a very strong second finish this season, and it'll come down to where Watford and Brentford finish, but I think Swansea could do it if they hit these levels, like I've said before with teams. If they can do it on a consistent basis, Swansea could be the team that sneak into second place. Next up, Watford Football Club, another team I've kept my eye on this season, mainly because I like watching Ben Foster's videos, but they've had a few decent results. They've also beat Norwich this season. They beat them 1-0, but I've gone for their heaviest win where they beat Bristol City 6-0. Now, I know Bristol were in some bad form when they beat them, but bloody hell, 6-0. Watford really destroyed them, didn't they? And I think they were flying. I think they were 4-0 up at half-time. They just absolutely went for it in this game. So I had to pick this one. This was a heavy win, and it was a game where Watford really seemed to start charging towards the top 2 again. They still might make it. They're another team to keep your eye on. Now, the last team is Wycombe Wanderers, who are actually bottom of the table, but they've actually thrown up a few freak results this season. They've won games you probably wouldn't expect them to, and I've actually gone for their 2-1 win away at Birmingham. A few victories, I suppose you could choose other than this, but I think this one was fantastic. They actually came back. This one was in November. They came back and they scored in the last minute, I believe. They might have scored in stoppage time to win this one. Birmingham 1, Wycombe 2, and this was at a point where Wycombe weren't cut adrift. It was a massive win, but since then I feel like they have been cut adrift, and they'll need a lot of victories if they want to climb back into it. So then guys, that wraps up today's video. If you've enjoyed the video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you disagree with what I've had to say, then let me know down below what you think your best win has been this season. But we'll see you in the next video. Peace out.